How's it going, everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we are taking a look at the iflight's Green Hornet. It is a 3-inch 4-6S FPV cinematic quad, or otherwise called cinewhoop. It is safe to fly it indoors due to the protective props by these ducted prop guards and also foam, and it can also be flown outdoors as well. Now you can choose from a variety of receivers, including the FlySky RXSR receiver, FlySky XM Plus receiver, TBS Crossfire Nano, and PMP, which is without a receiver. Now the wheelbase is measuring in at 142 millimeters, and the overall exterior diagonal measurement comes in at 240 millimeters, and the side-to-side exterior measurement comes in at 205 millimeters, and the front to rear exterior measurement comes in at 190 millimeters. Now both the top and the bottom carbon fiber plates are measuring in at 2 millimeters in thickness, and the spacing between the two plates is coming in at 25 millimeters. And the weight comes in at 270 grams without the battery. The inner duct material is a 3D printed PLA plastic material, and the exterior bumper guard is made up of foam material to make it safe to fly indoors without causing damage to property and or people. The FPV camera is the Caddx EOS 2 FPV camera. It is an inexpensive and light FPV camera with a 1/3 inch sensor, 1200 TV lines, and this one comes with the 2.1 millimeter lens for a field of view of 160 degrees. Not the greatest, but it will get the job done. The camera is mounted via a 3D printed TPU standoff mount, and there is also a front and a rear 3D printed TPU bumper to protect the exposed carbon fiber frame. The antenna mount is also 3D printed, and we have the iflight's 5.8 gigahertz RHCP, or right hand circular polarized 2 dBi stubby antenna with the SMA connector. And also we have more 3D printed material to serve as landing pads under each of the motors. We are, however, not supplied with the camera mount that is shown in the product description, so the GoPro camera mount needs to be purchased separately. So after removing some screws, we are able to lift off the top carbon fiber plate. And we are also able to remove the ducted prop guard slash foam ensemble. Now notice the top and the bottom plate is mounted together via metal standoffs and not screwed in to the ducted plastic material. And both of the ducted plastic material and the foam guard can be replaced. Now the flight controller, now that we can see it very clearly, and the ESC combo is the Sussex E Mini F4 flight controller combo with the 35-amp BL 32 4-in-1 D-Shot 600 ESCs with 2 to 6S support. So the only thing different from the 4S version and the 6S version are the motors themselves. So they both share the same electronics. Now the firmware is the Betaflight F4, and the version is the 4.1.2 on this one. So it is nice that iflight is updating the firmware versions from the time of its initial release, which was originally shipped with version 4.0.5. So the micro USB port is accessible from the side, and they do provide you with a 90-degree angle adapter. Now it's going to be impossible for you without this 90-degree angle adapter to connect the USB cable to the micro USB port unless you have everything removed just like here. But if you have everything still installed, you need to use this 90-degree angle adapter. So what you want to do is connect the 90-degree angle connector to the USB cable first, and then connect it to the flight controller. It will make life so much easier since you got more to grab onto, and it will also prevent a 90-degree angle push down onto the USB connector on the flight controller. And it is also easier to wiggle it back out. The VTX is the 500 milliwatt VTX with built-in IRC tramp protocol, so it can be switched from 25, 100, 200, 400, and up to 500 milliwatts via this single button, or you can use the Betaflight OSD menu to change channels, bands, and the power output with your transmitter since it has IRC tramp protocol. Now it comes with the IPX or the UFL connector for the antenna interface. And the flight controller, the ESCs, and the VTX all have the 20 by 20 millimeter, 2 millimeter mounting holes. We also have a capacitor. It is the 220 microfarad 50 volt capacitor. And the receiver that I've installed, since this is a PNP receiver version, the other versions were the RXSR, the XM Plus, or the Crossfire Nano. So I've installed my HobbyMate D16 receiver, and although it is a telemetry receiver, I've just attached the ground, the 5 volt, and the signal wire to the flight controller via the provided 6-pin connector. And the 6-pin connector already has 6 wired already configured, so it can accommodate all of those different types of receivers mentioned earlier. Okay, so this is everything that came out of the box, and here is the box. So we get a bag of stickers, and we also have some antenna sleeves for the receiver. And we get a bag of props, those Nazgul Cine props, a full set of those 3x4x3 props. And we get a bag containing the 90-degree angle USB connector. And we get a bag of wiring harnesses for those various different types of receiver that you might encounter. Could be the Crossfire Nano, the DSM RXSR, or the XM Plus. So here's the Velcro strap for the battery, an extra one. And we get not one, but 2 anti-slip battery pads with the same cutout that's on the top of the carbon fiber plate, so you know exactly where to put this. And we get a diagram pamphlet telling you exactly what the pinout diagram is for the FlySky receiver with the 3 wires, and the FlySky receiver using the smart port telemetry wire. And we got the TBS Crossfire Nano, and also the DSM. So very nice. And we got the diagram for the VTX as well, and the camera, and for the LED and the buzzer, and the ESCs. And if you want to hook up a GPS module, there's the wiring diagram for that too. So very nice pamphlet containing all of the wiring diagrams. And we get some stickers as well, and that looks like the Green Hornet. And all kinds of screws, M2 6mm screws, M2 5mm screws, and M2 3mm screws. Okay, so here we are in Betaflight. So let's go ahead and connect the craft, USB. And we are connected. All right, so let's take a look here. Green Hornet Betaflight F4 board and Betaflight version 4.1.2. All right, so let's go into the ports and check this out here. So UART 1 is taken up by the IRC tramp protocol. UART 2 taken up by the receiver. UART 3 seems to be empty, so if you want to put in the GPS module or something, you can use UART3. UART6 taken up by the ESC telemetry, looks like. So let's go to the configuration tab. We got the D-Shot 600. Props are reversed. 4 kilohertz, 4 kilohertz. Accelerometer turned on. Arming at 180 degrees. Green Hornet for the craft name. Serial based receiver for the receiver mode, and S-bus for the provider. Telemetry is turned on. OSD, anti-gravity, dynamic filter turned on. Beacon turned on as well, set to tone 1, and everything else is turned on as well. Okay. Power and battery. Minimum cell voltage set to 3.1, and warning cell voltage set to 3.2. Failsafe tab. Throttle set to hold, and it is set to drop. PID tuning. Now these are the PIDs that was already preset. iflight already preset the PIDs, so it is on profile 1. Profile 2 would be Betaflight defaults, as well as profile 3. So leave it at profile 1, and rate profile setting is set to default as well. I'm just going to leave it to default and fly it like that. Filter settings, and filter settings have been tweaked by iflight, and this is what it looks like. Okay, take a look at the receiver here. Okay, let me go ahead and turn on my transmitter. I'm using the Radiomater TX16S.
Welcome to Open TX. Throttle warning.
Nothing's turning on. I gotta put a battery on the quadcopter. Okay, there we go. So throttle, roll, pitch, and yaw, they're all working. And RSSI channel set to auxiliary 6, and auxiliary 6 is the RSSI from the hobby-made D16 receiver. I got the RC deadband set to 3, and as well as the yaw deadband set to 3 as well. So everything is good to go here. And the modes are already set. I got auxiliary 1 on arm at the top of the switch, auxiliary 2 angle mode at the bottom of the switch, auxiliary 3 beeper on the top of the switch, auxiliary 2 air mode at the top of the switch. So in between would be acro mode, and auxiliary 4 set to flip over after crash. So OSD, and here's how I like my OSD configured. And I got the post-flight statistics already chosen as well. Alright, so we are all good to go here. Alright, so here we go. I got my Radiomater TX16S ready to go. We got the Green Hornet ready to go. I got a 3S 650 milliamp battery just for this test flight, so we can check it out in 3S. What I've done to the quadcopter so far since the last time is I put the battery pad, the non-slip battery pad, which fits on there perfectly. And I did put a GoPro mount on the front since it didn't come with a GoPro mount. So I'm going to be using the original GoPro mount that the GoPro came with. And that is just about it. So let's get started here. Okay, turn it on.
Welcome to Open TX. Throttle warning.
Okay. Plug in the battery. All right, we are good to go. So let's check it out. Line of sight with a 3S. Very light 650 milliamp battery. And right off the bat, I do feel the sluggishness of the 3S power. And wow, I need to pitch forward quite a lot for it to start moving. So when I do the FPV, I think I'm going to have to up tilt the camera angle quite a lot in order to get a horizon if I want to go at least forward with a little bit of speed. Yeah, so if you want to have low camera tilt angle, you can't really go too fast. And hence the cinematic quad or cinewhoop. Nice and smooth. So with the 3S you are still able to fly around. But I do believe once I put the GoPro on, the 3S is going to be, yeah, not enough. Okay, let's see if we can do some flips. Yeah, you can do flips. You gotta catch yourself early on the downfall. But yeah, you can do flips with a 3S battery. So let's do a little punch out. Yeah, that's the punch out with the 3S battery. It's decent enough. You can fly around, yeah, with a 3S battery, no problem. Just got to put a small 3S battery on here. Yeah, so there you go. Little line of sight test with the 3S battery. So let's go ahead and bring it in and put on a 4S. Okay, so this time I got a 4S 850 milliamp battery. So let's plug it in. We should have a little bit more power now. Yeah, right away, jumping off the table, you can tell it's got more power. Yeah, so if you want to traverse in this speed, look at the camera tilt. So definitely when I do the FPV, I'm gonna have to up tilt the camera slightly, maybe about, I would say 30 degrees, so we can capture the horizon instead of the ground. Yeah. Oh, I'm just happy flying this thing line of sight. Not bad, huh, for a cinewhoop. Yeah, actually it's really nice. Okay, let's go ahead and bring it in and do a little punch out. Yeah, lots more power with the 4S. And I do believe if you put a GoPro on here, you're gonna need to fly it with the 4S. That was the case with the HGLRC's Beitian 3. So this is very similar to that quad. So, you know, very nice flying characteristics, very smooth. Let's see. And with the 4S, you can catch yourself from a downfall right away. So yeah, 4S is the way to go here, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and bring it in and do some FPV with it. All right, guys, so here we go with our very first FPV flight. And I am using the 650 milliamp 3S battery for this test first, just to see how it behaves with the 3S while FPVing. Hey, it ain't that bad. So I have the camera tilted to about 25-30 degrees. So I'm not pushing it. As you can see, my throttle is at about 50%. But if this thing had a FPV camera, dual purpose HD, where you can record as well, like the Sector 132, you can just fly it around with the 3S battery. That'll be good enough. Yeah, so you can do some cinematic flying with the 3S, but I'm afraid once you put the heavy GoPro on here, it will not be able to perform very well. It will start to sag. But if you want to just practice, 3S is good enough. Yeah. My car is so dirty. So if you want to fly inside the house and do some hooping, yeah, you can just use 3S and fly around. I do see a little bit of jello. Yeah, you can do some maneuvers too, look. Not bad at all. Okay. One more. A little power loop. And I think that'll conclude our little flight with the 3S. And the breeze is starting to kick in as well. So let's bring it in and stick the 4S. Okay, so here we go with the 4S battery, 850 milliamp, same one that I use for the line of sight. Oh yeah, taking off from the table is effortless there. And look at my throttle. It's a lot lower than when it was with the 3S battery. And I think I need to give my camera a bit more of an up tilt if you want to traverse at this speed. So if you want to go slow and take cinematic shots, there you go. That's perfect. And basically that's what this quadcopter is made for. Cinematic flying. And nice and smooth. Can catch itself from a fall here. Yeah, not bad. You know, this could be a very good quadcopter to start learning how to fly acro, because of all the bumper guards, the ducted fan plus the foam. It'll protect this quadcopter pretty well. If you fly on soft turf with a little bit of grass, I don't think you can ever break this thing. Yeah, very nice and very smooth, and the tune is just right, even with the 4S. There I had to use a little bit of throttle, and the wind is picking up a little bit as well, so it's slightly getting bothered by the wind. The wind is about, I would say, 5-7 miles an hour. So it does get bothered by the wind just a little bit, but it is still going pretty much straight to where I wanted it to go. So next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit bigger battery, 1300 milliamp 4S, and put the GoPro on here and see if it flies with the GoPro. Alright, so let's go ahead and bring it in. Not much of a flight time with the 850, just barely 3 minutes. There we go. Okay, so here we go with another 4S, but this time we got the 1300 milliamp and the GoPro attached. I had to move the 1300 milliamp really far back of the quadcopter to balance out the GoPro. So let's go ahead and check it out. Oh yeah, definitely I can feel the weight of the GoPro. As you can see, look at my throttle percentage here. Just to cruise, I'm at 56. But physically it feels a lot higher than that. So hopefully we're taking some nice cinematic shots. Yeah, so you can cruise with the GoPro attached with a 1300 milliamp CNHL battery. And CNHL 1300 milliamp is more like a 1500 milliamp size of other brands. So you can cruise yeah, it flies nice and smooth. And I don't think you really want to do some maneuvers with the GoPro on, but let's check it out. Yeah, you can throw in some rolls and power loops while you're cinewhooping. And the battery is going down pretty fast as well. Oh man, maybe this battery wasn't a very good battery, guys. I have all kinds of different levels of battery, and I think this one usually lasts me about 3 minutes with a regular 5-inch quad. So we're taking it beyond 2 minutes with the GoPro, and I should be coming in for a landing because we're below 14 volts here. So there you have it, guys. A little flight with the GoPro attached with the iflight Green Hornet. You know, Bruce Lee was a Green Hornet. So let's go ahead and bring it in. So that'll conclude my review and test flight video of the iflight's Green Hornet. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you again next time. There we go.